As a legislator representing the OFW party list, I shall endeavor to sponsor measures that will promote the interests and protect the rights of our overseas Filipino workers, particularly the establishment of OFW centers that will provide welfare assistance and counseling services to the families of overseas Filipino workers who are left behind, and institute scholarship programs for their children, among other proposed legislations. Again, our dear President has observed, ngayon, para naman sa mga anak na naiwan sa Pilipinas, titiyakin ng Department of Migrant Workers sa pamamagitan ng OWA na sila ay maipapasok sa magagandang paaralang magtuturo sa kanila ng financial literacy, mental wellness, sports, sining at kultura. Ito ay mangyayari sa pakikipagtulungan ng iba't ibang ahensya ng pamahalaan. Alagaan natin ang kabataang Pilipino pagkat sila ang kinabukasan ng ating inang bayan. We shall also pursue to facilitate the provision of decent and affordable housing to our OFWs and their families, which is our motivating aspiration and their dream for working abroad.
We understand the social cost of labor migration, and it is very high and very difficult to most Filipino families. Primarily, a lot of broken families and infidelities happen when people are abroad and families are left in the Philippines. We know that long-distance relationships between spouses and children often happen. And because of homesickness and loneliness, married people often break marriage vows. I would like to ask the representative from the OFW, as a concerned group, how can we help these people from committing infidelity? And how do we help these people and make sure that their families are intact even if they are far away from each other?
There is no real rule on how they will be faithful to each other, on how they will be staying together as a family, because there are a lot of factors. Number one, the different characteristics and traits of each mother, parent, or brother or sister, or as a couple. And there is also the factor of augmentation of financial capacity, their loneliness, their virility, their temptations. And this is mostly coming from peers that they are always together. They are together in their work. And most often, it is because of loneliness. I cannot say there's a definite rule, but we would like to state, and the OFW party list is very adamant and firm, that before doing the pre-departure orientation for our parents or families going and living abroad and working abroad, they should have a proper pre-orientation seminar, pre-orientation or pre-departure seminars. Of course, we have this with OWA, but I think we need the relevance, the effectiveness, and the sustainability of these pre-departure orientation programs.
Thank you, Madam Marisa from OFW Party List. As a former mayor, I've encountered problems of OFWs coming back to their families. And in some instances, a lot of them come home without money being saved, simply because of overspending, gambling, or infidelity. What measures do you have in mind, Mr. Speaker, that you can bring up to this House so that we can work on it together?
Mr. Speaker, honorable colleague, Kong Richard, definitely most of our OFWs are coming home penniless. Why?
Yes.
They do not know how to save. They should be having a financial literacy, and that is one of the factors that we want to be having in our OFW centers. They should be having a saving tips. They should not be giving more money, remittances to their families and just buying gadgets, cell phones, shoes, dresses, when the money should be saved for future, for their education, for maybe for their housing needs in the future and the food they will have to put in their table. Most importantly, they are penniless because they are using, I'm sorry, mga mahal nating OFWs, but you are using a lot of your credit cards sa mga bagay po na hindi naman po karapat-dapat at hindi po importante. It has to be a need, not a want. Ang dami pong mga kababayan natin na nagiging biktima, na dedemanda at nakukulong po dahil po sa mga paggamit nila ng kanila pong mga credit cards. Please, let us know how to use our cards. Ang ating pong mga kababayan nagiging penniless dahil po ang perang ipinadadala dito para sa kanilang mga pamilya na dapat po i-save para sa mga bahay nila na gustong hulugan ay napupunta po sa wala. Dahil ito po ay napupunta sa sugal, sa gambling, sa vices, at ang iba po ay sa illegal drugs. Pabayaan po natin ang mga kababayan natin, ang ating mga OFWs is sweating it hard, sweat, blood, and tears to earn the money for their loved ones here in the Philippines. Let us also love the money that they are remitting to be able to give them time to grow and to be able to return back home with the money, with the livelihood that they all deserve. This is the very reason why they are going abroad, Mr. Speaker, my fellow colleague.
Mr. Speaker, I also understand that contract switching is still prevalent to our OFWs. Does it still happen up to now?
Yes, Mr. Speaker, my fellow colleague, it is definitely happening. Ang contract switching po is prevalent sa ating mga overseas workers going abroad. They signed a contract here in the Philippines for a certain amount of salary, and even before their land in their host countries, they are about already to sign another contract for a lower salary. And that is the very reason I am not happy about it, but we were able to close 3 recruitment agencies for this kind of switching of contracts.
Yes, but Mr. Speaker, my follow-up is there a lack of enforcement coming from our government agencies, and what can we do with these problems?
Mr. Speaker, my fellow colleague, as of now, the government is having our crackdown on illegal recruiters, and the POEA is on top of that. But now that the Department of Migrant Workers with Secretary Toots Ople is very much focused, I would like to say that we will be tracking more of our illegal recruiters, and of course, we will be one with them to be able to step down and focus on all these advocacies of tracing our illegal recruiters.
I also understand, Mr. Speaker, that most of our OFWs are unable to get help from our consular and embassy offices. Is this still true?
Yes, Mr. Speaker, my fellow colleague, a lot of our personal accounts from our OFWs, not all, I would not say not all, but most of our Philippine consular offices and embassies abroad are very adamant, they are so relaxed, they are so reluctant, and they are so snobbish to be able to focus on our OFW's concerns and issues. We have our chat groups all over the Middle East, the US, Europe, and other parts of the world, and they were saying, Ma'am, sila po ay nagse-cellphone lamang sa isang tabi at sinabi po sa amin na maghintay po kami. 4-5 oras po kami naghihintay, wala pong nangyayari, pero busy po sila ng kapapanood ng mga teledrama nila. A lot of them are being said, they were saying that we already gave them our problem and they are not very responsive, my fellow colleague. They said, let's just wait, you go back to your employer. Once they cannot give you the exit visa, we cannot do anything. And that's the very reason why our OFW-Partylist office is doing every day the best that we can to be able to connect to the different agencies of the government to be able to give them the necessary actions that is needed by our beloved OFWs.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. We know that there are many problems hounding the OFWs. Family members are getting in jail. Some are getting sick and being alone out of the country. Some get into drugs, either them or their families in the Philippines. The social cost of labor migration is so high. I would like to find out from the OFW representative, why are you so passionate in championing the rights, no? The rights of our OFWs.
Mr. Speaker, my fellow colleague, I am very, I would just like, it's my passion. I'm championing the OFW-Partylist because it started when I was in the media as a broadcaster, media personality, and in the movies. I saw the real plight of our OFWs from mga extra natin po na nagsushooting po sa abroad. At ang kanila pong mga kahinaan, nakita po natin na napakalaki ang remittances. Sila po ang sinasabing bagong bayani. 34.884 billion US dollars. Pero kung tutuusin po, hindi po talaga trato sa kanila ay mga bayani. Sila po ang mga kababayan natin na ang first. Ang gusto ko lamang po is to protect the welfare and the health ng ating pong mga OFWs working abroad to better able to give good life for their families. And secondly, gusto ko pong maibigay po sa kanila ang serbisyong nararapat dahil sila po ay nagbibigay ng 8.9% na gross domestic product dahil po sa ating mga remittances. It is the very reason why our Philippine economy is afloat dahil po sa 34.884 million US dollars remittances po natin. Ibigay po natin sa kanila ang nararapat, kagaya po ng sinabi ng ating mahal na Presidente Ferdinand Marcos Jr.
Thank you. And lastly, Mr. Speaker, I'd like to say that I can feel the passion of this representative from OFW, whose advocacy is real and true. And I'd like to say that if there are measures that you'd like to propose to this august chamber, I will be with you in empowering the laws that affect our OFWs and therefore give their families a better chance in life. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you so much, Mr. Speaker. My fellow colleague, Congressman Richard Gomez, maraming salamat po. Maraming salamat po.